Hey guys, it's time for Breakthrough with Coach Lew. Coming to you live from Accelerate Life University, XLR8Life.com. Coach Lew will help you break through anything that's stopping you. Are you ready to get the motivation, the energy, the life, and all the success you really want and deserve? With no further ado, here's Coach Lew.
All right, guys. Welcome back to Breakthrough with Lew. Oh, excuse me. I inhaled a little tiny sip of my coffee there that I took right before we got started. Good morning. How's your week starting out so far? It is Monday morning. I'm going to assume you've been up maybe a couple hours. How do you feel? We're in June, guys. I mean June. Summer's here. What happened? We blinked and summer is here. So I want to ask you a question. What's stopping you? What is holding you back? When is now the time? And I know that doesn't sound like proper English. When is now the time to take a stand, to step up, to start going? You know, they say the best time to plant a tree is when? Well, like 10 years ago. When is the second best time if you haven't planted that tree? Today. You don't want to look back in 10 years and go, God, if I had just stepped up that day with that Breakthrough with Lew show with Coach that day and actually done something, my whole life would be different. What is one decision you can think of right here and right now today that you failed to follow through on 10 years ago that would make your life dramatically different today? Okay, and you might say, well, I don't want anything different than it is today, because even if through the rough times, if this didn't happen or that didn't happen, I wouldn't have my child, or I wouldn't have this business, or you know, the love of my life in my life. I get it. I'm just saying, did you ever make or fail to make a decision or fail to take action on a decision that, you know, 10 years ago being today would have made a huge difference financially, emotionally, psychologically, you know, growth, contribution, all these things you can look at and you can go, well, I'm glad to be where I'm at. And I understand that. Because you know what? We can't go back and change the past. Nor do we want to change the past. You know what the past is? It's a playbook. You can look back, you can flip through those pages and go, when I did this, I skyrocketed, I succeeded. When I raised my child like this, I did great. When I did this, it strained the relationship with my children or my spouse, or, you know, I made a decision in business and it wiped me out, or I made a decision in business and that's where we took off. Well, today's the day I want you to make some decisions and launch, take off, get that airplane off the ground. Let me tell you, an effing airplane isn't much good at getting you anywhere if you're going to drive it down the highway to go there. Okay? Let's call it like it is. You can own the nicest Learjet in the world, my friends. And if you think you're going to drive down I-4 or drive across country and stay on the road, if you're going to stay on the ground of life, you're going to stay on the ground floor of business, you're going to stay on the ground, you're never going to get up. You got to get in the air. You got to get going. So let's plant that tree today. Let's launch that rocket today, whatever you want to term it, whatever's going to get you excited. Maybe planting a tree is a little bit of a slow process, although we need to do more of that. Let's face it. Let's launch today, not tomorrow, not put it off till next week, which will turn into next year, which will turn into the next decade, and you'll never flip and do it. Okay? The key to it is stop what's holding you back. When is today the time to start? And you might go, well, you got a point there, but you know, you don't just one day decide, I'm going to be a millionaire and wake up tomorrow and you're not, and you are, and it just happens that way. No, that was in a book that had this big secret of how to visualize. Okay? That's what the book was about. Visualization, step one. But it stopped there. You got to take action. You got to do your part. But now is the time to start the ball rolling, because if it doesn't start rolling, think of bowling. It rhymes, right? Seriously, you can sit there and focus on those pins and visualize the best strike ever, right? And I highly recommend visualization. You don't want to sit back and go in blindly and everything, but you sit there and visualize making that strike. You can sit on your ass all day long and visualize it. You got to throw that ball. You got to get it rolling. So if you're a bowler, you're going, hey, I kind of like this guy. He's got a good example for me. If you're not really a bowler, you get the idea. Anyway, you can't knock any pins down. You might not knock all 10 down, but you can't knock any pins down, hear me, until you roll the ball. So the ball's got to get rolling. You can't open any business till you go apply and get your city licenses, or get, whatever it is, or go to the bank to get your startup capital, whatever it is. You can have the best business plan in the world, but until you take the step, you can't go forward. Okay? You getting what I'm saying here? Okay? This is exciting to me. I love days like today because I get to light a fire. Okay? I always was a fire bug as a kid. That's what my mom called me. The fire bug. And I got the scars to prove it. Stuff would blow up, burn, and make all kinds of fun stuff. But you know what? Until you lit the wick, nothing happened. And once in a while I lit the wick and it went psh, psh, and I was like, dang, I didn't make anything exciting. And then other times I was like, launch, boom, bang, fireworks, cool. Wow, now I know how to make it happen. You see, this is what we're after today. So let's just take a little walk down memory lane of May. May prefaced all of this, guys. First week of May, we started out with the may I will you. Well, may I do this? May I do that? Asking for permission from everybody. I'm not telling you to go do illegal stuff or immoral or, something stupid. I'm just saying, oh, do you think I should start a business? Honey, please don't do that. We're barely making ends meet right now. Okay, yeah, it's not the right time. Hey, let's have a baby. Oh, we can't do that right now. We're not financially secure. Are you ever ready to have kids? Come on, parents out there, talk to me. Talk to me. Were you ready when the time came? No. Did you get ready real freaking fast? Did it grow you up? Did it get you to the next level? And especially when you see that little baby that you're responsible for this little creature. Yeah, heck yeah, now you're talking, right? Now you're motivated. You got to. If you're a decent human being, if you look at that child and go back to sitting around doing nothing, you're not much of a parent. But in all reality, think about this. Stepping it up, my friends. Stepping it up. All right, so here we go. Just remember, you got to stop asking for permission from anybody else but you or your creator. It's not like you do something totally crazy like clean out the 401k and then tell your spouse. Oh, by the way, I invested in, weed whackers that, don't cut weeds. It's not a smart move, okay? So just remember, don't ask for permission to be you. Don't ask for permission to step up and do what your calling is. That's what I'm saying. You give yourself that permission. You talk to your creator about that one, okay? Because remember something, no one's coming to save you. No bumbling politicians, no local governments, no agencies, no government check is coming to save you, baby. I think you learned that through COVID, couple $600 checks and some quote unquote vacation time. I didn't want their checks and I didn't want their vacation time, so I took neither, okay? So the deal was, that's not going to save you. No one's coming to save you. You know who saves you? You. You know who becomes a leader in your community and you can help other people with a hand up and teaching and leadership skills? You. Okay? No one's coming to save you. So on that note, give yourself permission to be you, to step up and go forward from this time forward. And then in the following weeks, we discovered the 5 parts to freedom. Well, the first step of that was giving yourself the permission to get going and to go forward, not to ask permission and let people shoot you down. I would rather crash and burn on a big dream than kind of coast through life on an average life where nobody knows you existed when you're gone. Trust me, I will live on long after I'm dead and gone. I will live on for a long time. Legacy is important to me. Not to be, oh, superstar coach. It's to be able to continue to touch lives and help people long after I'm gone. Okay? That's what this freedom is about. It's about having the freedom to live and work and put the effort in. Let's face it, my friends, you're not going to, if you go into business for yourself, you're not going to have all this free time. It's not sitting and sipping Mai Tais by the pool and everything else. Trust, that is, you get a day off, it's like, wow, but you're living your passion. That's what's important. Okay, so we discovered the 5 parts of freedom last month. Okay, one of them was decide that you're responsible and able to make your own decisions. Stop asking for permission. That's step 1, right? Step 2 was decide to take massive and many times uncomfortable action. You don't grow until you bust through something, okay? So, last weekend we went to the zip line at our zoo here, and if you're local, contact our representatives in the county. They're shutting down half of that course because they don't want to, it's not going to pass inspection from the county this year. So they're going to just give up on the best half of the course. And I'm like, that's a really lame thing to do. How about getting it fixed? And I'm thinking, interesting. So you're not repairing anything that we're out here on this course, and there are some things that are falling apart, and I'm like, and you're 50, 100 feet in the air, climbing across cables and zipping across, and it's more than just zipping. It's you're doing a lot of climbing and stability. You're walking across poles and all kinds of crazy stuff. But it was like, all right, the point to that was you got to take the action, okay? It would be easy to get halfway through that and go, okay, that was pretty easy. See you later. It was where it really gets tough that makes you the uncomfortable action was the best part of it. Okay, there were times I was like, I hate this. As you're stepping on this pole that's about yay thick, okay, and you're got one wire and you're walking across this thing that's literally like the wire that the electricity goes through, and these poles are about 2 foot away from each other and they swing, and you're like, blah, blah, and it's like flinging you all over the place. Now, granted, your safety harness is going to grab you if you fall, but then how do you get back up? And it's a lot. You're a lot better off not falling, okay. So it's like, it was very uncomfortable action, but you get to the other side of that and you go from, I hate this, to, whoa, this was awesome. That's what lies on the other side of uncomfortable action. And massive action, the lack of action's, okay, I don't have to get scared. I don't have to work that hard. I can kind of coast through. Woohoo. Yeah, that's way to live life. Woohoo, or yes, look what I just did. Look at the energy difference, okay? So number 3, decide you are responsible for your outcome. No more blame game. You can't blame me, and I can't blame you. What I do or do not get at the end of the day, the end of the week, the end of the month, the satisfaction, the lack thereof, if you're dating, getting the guy, getting the girl, whatever, if you're in business, getting the contract, not getting the contract, there's no one to blame but you. At the end, and then don't beat your shit out of yourself. I'm not saying that, but you're responsible for your outcome. Okay, if you go through the steps of doing something and you don't get the outcome you wanted, you might say, well, it was this government agency, or it was that stuck-up chick that didn't, said no to my date. You can blame, and it makes you feel like, oh, it wasn't my fault. Or you can just sit there and go, what could I do differently next time? You might go, well, I'm a great person. Why wouldn't that girl wanted to have dated me? Or if you're a girl, why wouldn't that guy wanted to have dated me? Well, maybe it's just not they just didn't have that same feeling. Maybe it wasn't you. Maybe you did everything right. Maybe it is you're a great person. Maybe you just got to look in a different direction. Okay? Maybe you're meeting people at the bar. Well, it's probably not the best place if you're the kind of person that's on this show. Maybe you're going to meet somebody in an educational class. Maybe you're going to meet somebody at a physical fitness event or something like that that might be more suited to you. So it's not their fault they didn't want to go out with you, or their fault if in a boss's situation they didn't want to hire you. Maybe it just wasn't the right fit, and you can go back and go, oh, I get it. Maybe it's a bar is not the greatest place to meet somebody that I want to, I invited her to go hiking tomorrow, and she was like, looked at me sideways. We had great conversation. We were laughing. I said, let's go hiking. And she just chilled. Well, maybe that girl that's sitting there and partying at the bar every night, 2-3 nights a week, isn't the type of person that wants to go hiking with you. So maybe you just get out there on the trails and you meet somebody. So no blame game is my point. I'm giving you crazy examples, guys, but it's the no blame game. Okay, you can't blame somebody else. You got to look and go, okay, if you feel like you failed at something, what is it that I could do differently? Maybe you didn't really fail. Maybe it's part of a learning experience and part of taking you in a direction for the next level where you're really supposed to be. Okay? I believe there's some destiny in there. And if you stop blaming others and go, don't beat yourself up and go, oh, it's me, I'm wrong, I'm bad, I'm lazy, I'm this, I don't know how to talk. You know what? Just look and go, what can I do a little differently? What one of my strengths can I focus on? That's the other thing. Whew, sometimes people are like, well, I'm not good at talking to girls. Well, what are you good at? I'm good at making people laugh. Well, guess what? Dude, if you want to get a date with the girl, make her laugh. People like people make you laugh, or vice versa. Okay, so you focus on your strength. Oh, I'm good at making people laugh, but I'm not good at asking a girl for a date. Well, okay, then stop going with the focus of I'm going to go up to this girl and get a date, and go, I'm going to interact with this girl and make her laugh. Or if you're the girl, the guy laugh. Whatever. You get my point there. See, focus on what you're good at and do more of it. Now, there are things that you're not good at that every once in a while you're going to still have to do. Well, work to improve those the best you can. But don't focus on what you're bad at. The old adage is, work on your weaknesses. Well, that sounds really exciting and really motivating. Hire somebody for your weaknesses is what I say. But that's a whole different talk for a different day. All right, number 4, review these outcomes as you're going along and adjust as necessary to stay hot on your goal. If you got a 6-month goal to do something, and you're 5 months in and you're behind in your schedule, everything's going, you're doing what you're supposed to do, but you got to do a little bit more of it. Let's go. Push it at the next level, dude. Or ladies, yeah. Next level. Okay, accelerate it. If you're ahead of the goal, act like you're not and keep going accelerated, because let me tell you something, there's always little diversions that are going to jump in. But review and say, is this goal still serving me? It doesn't mean this got hard and I don't want to do it anymore. Okay, but is this goal still serving me? I have a goal to buy a home in Orlando. Okay, great. And I'm going to do this within a year, and then your job transfers you to Macon, Georgia, and is going to give you a house up there, a corporate house, this, that, and do you still going to buy that house in Orlando where you're not going to live? Your goal might change. It might be, I still want to have my own home. I don't want to, only depend on the corporate housing. So I'm going to buy a beautiful home in Macon because this job is going to keep me there for a long time or something. These are the things that I give you is the little bit of the moving target of a goal that sometimes when you're looking at your outcomes, you go, wow. And sometimes you look at your outcomes and go, I'm already there. On a 6-month goal, you've hit it in 4 months. Do you still keep going through the motions? Maybe if some of the habits are serving you in other areas, but if you're there, what's next? You don't have to sit there and go, well, I committed to putting $1,000 a week away for this many weeks to buy a house, and you found this great deal in 4 months, and you're there and you have your full down payment. You might still put that $1,000 a week away towards something else, but maybe you don't have to do it towards that house anymore. Maybe you're done. You've hit your goal. Don't get so caught up in the processes all the time that you ignore the fact that you may have already exceeded or been to your finish line. Then look for something else. I'm not saying you sit back on your laurels, because that's when you start to go backwards. There's forward and there's backwards. There is no static. You might feel like you're staying in one place, but like with your health, your exercise, your eating habits, if you're not doing better, you're going to start getting worse. There is no, okay, I hit it and I stay there. There is no static, okay? Unless you're dead, then you stay there. But other than that, and that shouldn't be your goal, I would hope. If it is, you need to reach out to me real fast for some major coaching and reach out to somebody to help you. Because if you're at that point, and this is an important thing for somebody to maybe hear, if you ever feel like you'd be better off dead or that you don't matter, get help, because you do matter. And you're never better off dead, guys. So just as a little caveat there, if you ever have a day like that, or you reach out, somebody's there to help. Okay, now number 5, keep a journal of your wins, your lessons learned, your experiences. You know why? This becomes your recipe book of how to do it. Okay? This is what you do. These are the warning signs when you need to adjust. These are the things. When I did this, this was the outcome. When I did this, this was the outcome. Wasn't so good, so I won't do less of that and more of the one that was good. It literally becomes a recipe for later, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time. Okay? We don't want to do that. We don't want to reinvent the whole process every single time we want to accomplish something. We want it to be kind of plug and play. Everything's adjustable. Nothing's exactly the same, but you don't want to sit there and go, okay, I reached this goal. Okay, let's start from scratch. Well, what about all the things you learned? What about, I opened a business, okay? Many people out that listen to us are multiple business owners. Okay, you open up a business, you learn what works, what doesn't. Every time you learn a lot of stuff. Try doing a commercial lease. Every time you do a commercial lease in this world, you look back and go, shit, I should have included that too. Because that is the most vicious, cutthroat industry in the world, because you will get in, oftentimes new business owners are so eager that they end up overpaying. They end up with unfavorable terms, stuff that's not realistic to run their business. And they think, well, they won't really enforce that parking thing, or they won't do. They will. And the paper says it, and then you go, well, this isn't even legal, or this is no fair, and you put it in front of a judge, and the judge goes, you signed this. Do you read English, or whatever language maybe the lease is in? Do you read and understand this? Yeah. You signed it, yeah? That's your signature, yeah? Okay, terms. But there is no but. So those are things you learn. That's a pretty hefty example, guys. But let me tell you, it's one of those examples that can crush a business, or it can crush a landlord if you're the landlord and you don't have stuff in there for protection of yourself. Not saying that landlords are bad or tenants are bad. What I'm saying is, you would learn the first time you open a business. I guarantee you would look at your lease and go, I wouldn't do that one again. Oh, I'd have negotiated that one. Oh, I would have put that in there. Guaranteed. Okay? There's no business that's ever opened that has a commercial lease that doesn't say, oh, yeah, didn't think of that one. Okay? So next time you would. But you wouldn't start over again and make the same mistake, right? You would sit there and go, okay, last time I didn't have this in there. This time I will. Simple, but this is your playbook that you've created, okay? And same thing with a relationship. What if you get in a relationship and you don't bother to ask some questions in the beginning, and all of a sudden you find out, boom. Say you get married and you assume getting married means that, your spouse is going to, want children like you do, but you never really talked about it. You get married and you're like, hey, don't you think it's time? And they're like, I don't want any kids. And you have this vision of a big family, you got a problem. And let me tell you, that probably will destroy that marriage, because you're on the same page. That's a big page. So boom, you end up getting divorced, going, wow, she didn't want no kids, or he didn't want no kids. What's with this? So you do this, and then next time around, you don't go in and go, okay, let's get married. Yay, boom. Uh-oh. Same mistake. No, one of probably the first things you'd get to know about somebody is how they feel about kids or dogs or, where they want to live. All of a sudden you get married and somebody says, well, I want to move back to New York and be by my family. And you're going, that state's in a state of disaster right now. I'm not living there. Well, I'm going back by my family, and you end up in a divorce because you don't know, you didn't use that playbook from last time and go, there's certain questions you ask going into a relationship, okay? So, and again, relationship, business, money are all easy examples, guys. You might be going, you know what, I've been married 20 years, I love my spouse, we got great kids, we're not, this isn't something we need to discuss or figure out, okay? You're probably right. But those are examples. But once you have the playbook in place, you can write in, literally, you create a sheet for yourself and go, okay, relationships, businesses, finances, all follow some patterns, and you can kind of, okay, what are the questions I need to ask in buying a business? What are the questions I need to ask going into a relationship? What are the questions I need to ask of a prospective employee or prospective employer? Not doing it, winging it each time. As you learn, you go, okay, what are the steps I need to do? All right, I think you guys get the point. If you don't, reach out to me. I can help you with coaching, relationship, family, business, career. We can do some one-on-one coaching on that. That is some stuff. Don't be afraid to reach out and get that, because that makes a huge difference. Okay, there's nothing wrong with reaching out for a hand up. Okay, just don't reach out for a hand out, because that's never going to get you anywhere. Then we finished out May, and we're going to finish out the show soon too, guys, in respect of your time. We finished out May with the Memorial Edition. Okay. We talked about honoring those who had given their lives, our veterans, our first responders that gave their lives for us to make sure we're free and safe. Okay, and we got to honor them not by lip service. We can talk about it all day long, and I can put my hand on my chest and say honor and everything else. But the challenge is, it's not only about the speaking about it. How we honor them is to make sure we keep free speech and defend everybody else's right to free speech. Freedom to worship and live as you choose. The problem we have is it's easy to say, I want to defend my free speech, but I don't want you to say this. You can't talk about this, but I can talk about this. And there's a lot of that going on these days. And there's a lot of stuff I don't agree with that's going on governmentally, worldwide, etc. There's no secret. I mean, I have no secret as to some of my beliefs, no secret to my faith. I love my relationship with my God, but I also don't say that you got to be exactly like me or you're wrong, because that's not for me to judge. That's for you and your Creator at some point, okay? Your freedom of speech, okay? Some people hate our current president. Some people kind of like him. That's your right to kind of like him if you like him. It's your right to hate him if you hate him. I personally think the guy does not belong in office, but that's still my right to say that. But you might say he's your president, and I can't tell you can't say that. That's up to you. Now, I'll tell you, I may or may not agree. You may or may not agree with me, but the one thing we need to agree on, and this is on the note of free speech and freedom, is that you got a right to your belief, I got a right to mine. And we gotta understand that we have got to support and defend each other's right to that, whether we agree or not. Okay? So, and I know that sometimes people are like, oh, coach, you shouldn't say anything about your political beliefs on the air or, in your business or this, that. You know what? I'm not radical, but I have my beliefs. You may have a different belief, and I support that. I will defend that to my death. For you to believe differently about politics, religion, the way you do business, the way you decide to talk. The thing that I will not support is squashing anybody's right to speak their mind, unless you're being totally hateful, nasty, brutal. And that comes from all sides. Being totally radical is ridiculous. Having an opinion is being a human being with free rights. Yeah, you got a right to your opinion. Just don't be radical. Don't be one-way street. You've got to at least support somebody else's right to live, speak, think differently than you. Okay, it doesn't mean you got to agree with them. Doesn't mean you got to conform. Doesn't mean you got to bend over backwards or be afraid of what you say because you're going to offend somebody. You know what? There's stuff I see each day that I go, are you friggin' kidding me? But I'm not like offended by it. I'm like, okay, some people actually believe this kind of stuff. You know, and but you know, I still support their right to believe it and voice it. Sometimes I don't want to see it. And if I don't want to see it, guess what? If I don't like what you're saying on Facebook, you're probably going to be off my feed. I don't want to see something that's going to aggravate me all the time in that. But you know what? I can't tell you that you shouldn't do it. False information, this, that, and the, you know what? It's not for me to decide what's false and what's not false. It's not for some little dweeb sitting in a corner office overlooking the bay to decide what's real and not. If they're not in the middle and the thick of it, you know what? Let people decide. You decide for yourself. Even stuff I say, you decide what you want out of this show and go, hey, you know what? That resonates with me, coach. That's great. And, you know, I don't agree on this end, but you're giving me something great over here. That's what you do. That's what being an American, even just a child of God or of nature or whatever you say, or just a person on this planet Earth. We're all brothers and sisters in some way. And it's just simple to understand that everybody's got some differences. Deal with it. But support each other's right to freedom, to not be harmed, to not be, you know, imprisoned, held back, silenced, forced to do anything that's harmful to them. You know what? There's so much, and if you look at it, we still have the greatest country in the world. We need to protect that. And there are factions that would love to change how our country operates. There are the governments that are threatened by countries that allow freedom. We see it all the time. It's very sad what they do to people in China, what they do to people, some of the people in Russia, and stuff like that, where if you're not on the elite side of it, you're garbage. They don't care. You're disposable. The one thing in the United States of America, you're not disposable technically. I mean, you know, to some you are, but you don't have a social class rating where, oh, you're just a lowlife, or you're just, everybody's got an opportunity in the United States of America. And I know there's people, oh, I had a rough upbringing, or I was born in the wrong side of town, this, that, and the other. And this message is directed at you. If you're going, must be nice, coach, you got all that cool equipment, and you get to talk to people, and all these connections, and all this training, and all the ability you've had to learn and grow, you got the same ability. And I'm talking to you. If you're the person thinking, God, I wish I hear what he's saying, but I've just been so oppressed, or I've been so, no. The strongest people, the most successful, are those that were the underdogs of life. Okay, the people that were born into trust funds and this, that, and the other, and you know, at 3 years old they had their own seat on daddy's jet. Nothing wrong with that. I love it. I love that daddy had a jet. Daddy probably worked his ass off for that. Most people don't win the lotto, so most people put a lot of effort in and deliver a lot of value to become wealthy. But the kid that had everything and then, you know, doesn't have any appreciation for it or anything like that, those are the people that don't really succeed. The people that succeed are the ones that were told, you can't, you don't, you're not that kind of person, you're not able, hold you back, and they bust through that. They don't just cower down and go, yep, I'm just a thug in the ghetto, or I'm just another kid in the private school, and nobody notices me. I'm no different. I'm not special. No, everybody's special. So if you think you're the one you're the person that's held back or doesn't have the opportunity to take advantage of this, this is who I'm talking to right now. Step up, bust through that, plant that tree today, and go to work on it. And if you're the trust fund kid that's going, you know what? Hey man, I can't change the fact I was born into a very wealthy family. No, and nor should you. but take advantage of that to build into something even better and greater. Don't take a free ride. I'm talking to the person that doesn't have 2 cents to rub together, and I'm talking to the person that's got a $2 million trust fund right now. Don't take any free ride in this life. Make your way, own your responsibility, create your future, no matter what it is. Okay, you are here for a reason. So step up, and wherever you're at, take it to the next level. That's what this is about. This isn't about how do we separate the multimillionaire from the person who's struggling. No, we go, how do we get you two together to learn from each other and not take away from the multimillionaire and say, I'm going to tax you more to hand this person a welfare check. No, how do you put those two people together so that person can go, you know what, I don't want to be rubbing 2 cents together to get through the week. Can I learn from you? What can I learn from you? What a different idea. Okay? So basically, we learned towards the end of the month that handouts make people weak and dependent, as opposed to a hand up helps somebody grow and be self-sufficient. See, a millionaire could donate $1 million worth of food to go drop ship over really poor parts of Africa and feed people for a week. Or that millionaire could go build some farms and a school to teach people how to farm the land and feed people for a lifetime. You see the difference? Hand out, hand up. Guys, I know sometimes I sound coarse. I call it like it is. But if it motivates one person at the end of today to take themselves and pull themselves up, or to lend a hand out and pull somebody else up that hill, okay, then my job is complete for the day. Okay? So, lastly, we discovered last month on Memorial Day that you are writing your own memorial. Okay? Wow. See, by the life you lead, the decisions you make, and the example you show, you are writing your own memorial. If you died today, what would they say about you at your memorial? Okay? Would you feel honored? I mean, everybody gets up there, he was a good man, she was a good woman. No, but the truth, what would your real memorial look like if you died today? Leave that legacy. Don't be average. Make your life a masterpiece and leave a legacy that lives beyond you and that people really believe. I always say, live your life off camera like you do on camera, especially if you're doing good on camera. And that'll be the legacy. You know, sometimes people are like, you know, you go, oh, wow, you have this hero, this role model, this actor, this actress, and you think they're so amazing, and you meet them and they're asses, or, you know, you find out their life is all screwed up, and, you know, and it's like, oh, wow, that's crazy. So be you on and off camera. And you might be, I'm not an actor or actress. I don't have a podcast. I'm not on camera. Act as though you are and see the difference. Why did I spend time reviewing all this today? Well, May was an awesome representation for the spring season of life. The time where it's to begin again with new distinctions and create those habits and actions that give you a strong summer season of life. And as we've discussed before, when I talk about the seasons of life, I'm not talking about the 12-month seasons. I'm talking about winter is that tough time. We're in winter globally and financially right now. Spring is that time of birth and growth and regrowth. Summer is the time to really enjoy and to really put in the effort. And then fall is the time to harvest and get all the rewards. So that cycles through many, many times, usually in a lifetime, not in a 12-month period. I mean, the weather does, but when you think about this, seasons of life, it's an interesting concept. So in June, we're going to work on identifying what stopped you in the past, what's holding you back currently. And then we're going to identify the strengths and powers you already have, how you maximize them, then how to map this out to maximize your strength and minimize your weaknesses. Okay, we all have strengths and weaknesses, but we don't want to sit in our weaknesses. We want to really work with those strengths. Okay, so we want to get to focusing on what's going to move you forward in June, because it is summer, so it's time to rock and roll, ride the waves, however you want to call that. And then we're going to discover this little secret of how to go forward and have it feel like a magnet pulls you towards what you're after, as opposed to a struggle. You don't want to feel like you're walking in the mud all the time. You kind of would like to feel like you could walk on water, right? Let's get that feeling. Do I have your attention? Do I have your attention? Do you really want something great for your life, or do you want to kind of watch this, feel good for 5 minutes, and then go back to the grind? I don't think so. Time to step it up to the next level. I'm going to have a special guest on the show at some point this month, who may or may not be for everybody as far as what they need, but really, I like to bring people who are the best at what they do in their businesses, the best professionals when it comes to medical or health as well. Who, especially people who come from a holistic basis. So I've got a special guest coming on the show within the next month. I'll let you know when and all the details soon. So, and if you know somebody that you think would be a great guest on the show, that would have something to offer, need some help, that we could work something through, that people would gain knowledge and motivation from by seeing that live, have them apply to me. I love having people on the show. I love having you guys on the show. So we are going to have an on-fire show. I know I've gone over time. You see me glancing every once in a while at my timer. But I think it was very important today to review and bring us into the same spot, into the same location, the same zip code. Everybody lives in a different house, different street, but I want to get everybody in the same zip code of it's time to stop asking for permission, stop waiting until XYZ, and plant that tree today. Plant that you today to get rocking and rolling, because it's time, guys. Really, what are we waiting for? Okay, we don't want to wait any longer. The time has come to really make the change, make the difference. The time has come to truly live with faith, energy, passion, and always live your dreams. I'm going to sign off on that. I do want you to put some comments in, whatever venue you've been watching on or listening on. Please get some comments in for me as to what changed for you today, what your next step is. Let's see it. Let's hear it. Let's do this as a team. Are you ready? All right, you got it. You know the deal. Live with faith, energy, passion. Always live your dreams. Coach Lou signing off. Have an amazing day.
Ready to take it to the next level? Next level? Tune in to XLR8Life.com for our live shows, encore presentations, life-changing courses, and live coaching with Coach Lou himself. As Coach Lou always says, live with faith, energy, love, passion, and always live your dreams.